All right, everybody, and welcome to the epic, awesome show. And coming to you live from Kumoricon. And here with me today is the one and only the Slants. So, would you guys like to introduce yourself and what you guys do?
Sure, I'm Simon. I play bass.
Ken, I'm the lead vocals.
Tyler, I play drums.
My name is Joe, and I play guitar.
Nice. So, can you tell me about how you guys got the band started? How the band started?
Sure, the band started it seems like almost a decade ago. It started actually with the release of the movie Kill Bill on DVD. So at that time, I was getting into Asian cinema, and people were saying, you got to watch this movie. But I was out on tour at the time. So I bought it on the day it came out, popped it in the DVD player in my apartment, and it was incredible. There's a very iconic scene where Ora Nishi is walking to the restaurant with the Crazy 88s, her Yakuza gang, and I just had to pause for a moment because I remember it was the very first time that I could recall ever seeing Asians or Asian Americans being depicted as confident, cool, and sexy in an American-produced film. Then I thought about my own art, music. And I thought, why haven't we seen this? There's over 17 million Asian Americans. How come we're not represented in the Billboard charts or in Rolling Stone or anything like that? And so I wanted to change the game. And that's when the idea for the Slants was born. And after many, many years of Craigslist ads and classified ads and even band member changes, we ended up with the lineup that we have today.
Okay. So I definitely have to check out Kill Bill. I've never actually seen the movie series, but I definitely will have to check that out. All right. So what inspired each of you to want to get into music, like into the music industry, or even get started with music?
Any of you want to jump in? Yeah.
I started playing piano when I was 6 years old. So from 6, I haven't stopped playing. So music has always been a big part of my life. It's always just been a dream to be able to do it on some sort of level. And after joining the Slants, it's like week after week. So it's just a lucky gig for me. But yeah, piano and singing from when I was a young guy. So
I think I've always wanted to be a rock musician and be a rock drummer. Honestly, I remember from a very early age just dreaming about it, like playing on chairs with chopsticks and pretending to play for big crowds, and it was something where when my friends were saying, "Oh, I want to be a fireman or a policeman or an astronaut," I was saying, "I want to be a rock star. I want to be a drummer." And so it's something that I started very, very young in life, and even watching old home videos before I could barely walk, I was like picking up guitars and like playing drums on stuff and tapping my foot to music. So, I've always really loved music.
I was trying to impress a girl
I was trying to impress this girl in high school, and I honestly was like, if I can play the guitar, it'll be awesome. She'll like me. I think it worked. Maybe I don't think so actually. But
Do you have a girl right now?
no, but that's actually more of my fault because now I'm too good. Yes, I'm actually not good at guitar at all. No, my mom actually made me play piano as a kid, like most Asian kids, and I didn't completely appreciate it at the time, but I did enjoy it. And then afterwards, when I started playing guitar, I was just like, oh yeah, music. That could be fun. It's more interesting than going to recitals when you're playing rock music as opposed to classical pieces. And it's been a hobby that somehow became a job.
And like Tyler, like I grew up and loved playing music. It was like a dream of mine. So you can also find old home videos of me hopping up on the coffee table with my dad's guitar, pretending like I was playing for people. I couldn't even talk yet, but I was already pretending to rock out. And then whenever I hung out with my cousins and my sister, we would all pretend to play in a band. We'd put down newspapers on the carpet like it was a rock and roll stage, and we would just rock out. It sounded awful, but it was a lot of fun, and I'm sure it looked cool, as cool as it would be for a bunch of little kids to do that. But it was great. And then eventually, I got into playing bass because of watching Duff McKagan and Guns N' Roses when I was 10, and I just fell in love with it. And I just I used to fall asleep with the bass in my arms, and it was amazing. And so now it's I don't know, it's a dream. I love it.
Okay. Yeah, there's certain pictures I can't get out of my head now. Thank you. Oh boy. So, what's your guys' process for writing songs, and slash what inspires you during the writing process?
So our band's kind of different in that we aren't the typical band that gets together in the garage that jams for a bit and comes out with songs. Usually our writing process begins with an idea, like a guitar riff or keyboard melody. I'll usually record it, email it to the rest of the band. They digest it for a bit, send back ideas, and we kind of mix it on computers through email over time, and people will send ideas to each other until we kind of have a song or a collection of songs. Then we re-record all those parts and head into the studio. When our newest album, the Yellow Album, was released, most of the band members didn't know how to play any of the songs because we had been doing this unique writing process. Yeah. So before we started playing them, we actually went on tour in support of the album, but we had to do a tour stop at my parents' house so we could spend a day learning how to play these songs together. And I was out in San Diego, 1,000 miles from home, but that's kind of the process. And as far as like inspiration, man, that comes from all kinds of places. Sometimes listening to someone else's music. Sometimes it comes from a film or a book. You never know. And sometimes, like, there have been times where I'd be asleep in a dream and I'd hear something and wake up and have to record it in the middle of the night. So it comes from all over.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you said it. He explained our process very well. I was just thinking when you were saying that in a dream, I used to think I wrote songs, and I'd play the song, and my friends would be like, that song is by, and so I stopped listening to the radio at night because I would leave the radio going, and then I would think I wrote a song, but it was something that was in my head for a different reason.
Okay. So let's see, we're on that one now. Okay, so now we're at a anime convention. So I'm kind of curious here. What is one of your guys' favorite anime, or if you guys don't watch a lot of anime, what's your guys' favorite movies?
Let's see, I think right now one of my favorite films to watch is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. And as far as anime goes, man, I grew up watching Robotech, so that was a big part of my life. Though I'm also a Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo fan, so I kind of like a lot of different things.
I've seen a lot, but I'm a big fan of Dragon Ball Z, big fan of Pokemon. I grew up watching Gundam, too, like all the Gundam Wing and all those kind of series, too.
I don't watch as much anime, however, like Metalocalypse and, like shows like that, and Archer. As far as cartoons go, I love that stuff. I love all the Marvel movies, and I'm a big fan of cheesy action movies.
Cowboy Bebop all the way. Nothing else even close.
Definitely have to agree with you on that one. Not everything, but everything else is... there's still some really good ones out there, like Full Metal Alchemist. Very great, but can't top, unfortunately, Cowboy Bebop. But, okay, so I know you guys are... I think I've been to actually all your guys' panels this year at Kumoricon, and I'm kind of interested to know, what is one of your guys' favorite foods?
You want to dive in first?
Vegan cuisine is my favorite food.
What is vegan cuisine?
The band has argued with me extensively, and it does not end at lettuce and carrots. It does not end there. I think vegan cuisine, more than just a dietary restriction and, a limited palate, is actually about taking food that is not from animals, that's not from animal products, and turning them into something a lot more. The cuisine part of it, that's an important part for me. And I feel like in Portland there is a big market for it, so there's a lot of restaurants that cater towards vegans and vegetarians, but they transform the food. So it could be a mixture of different culinary backgrounds, it could be from different countries, types of food, but usually it's really amazing, tasty food without animal products in it. I am not a vegan right now because I can't be. The band will not let me be a vegan.
We would probably kick him out, unfortunately.
I think that was on the contract. But I still truly appreciate the whole concept and the food.
And we force the meat down your throat too. Basically.
That sounds not good.
I am on the opposite spectrum. I call myself an omnivore. And my favorite food, I think, has to be steak, salmon, any kind of seafood. And I just love food. Yeah, any kind of food that starts with S and every other letter of the alphabet. Yeah, steak and potatoes, or since we could throw in some Asian things, beef short ribs, Japanese potato salad, and rice is my all-time favorite meal.
I think what gets me excited to wake up in the morning is thinking about going to dim sum a lot of times when I have that plan. But I love sushi. I love Mediterranean food, Mexican food. I mean, sky's the limit as long as it's prepared really well. I love a good steak, as my band members, a good hamburger. I grew up in a pizza place. I always love pizza. I'm actually making pizza tonight.
I mean, I guess you could say my diet is what I call being an opportunist. Like, whatever tastes good. I love fresh, local, regional foods, stuff with unique tastes. So, but if I were to have a final meal, like a death row kind of meal, it'd probably be really, really good sushi.
Okay. Let's see now. What do we have now? If you could meet one person throughout the history of the world, who would it be and why?
Bruce Lee. I would let him punch me in the face just to meet him.
You'd probably die if that happened.
I would, probably count to 5, and that would be, the end of my life. But that would be 5 seconds of absolutely worth it. 5 seconds.
I think death by Bruce Lee is the only way to go.
They don't have to be dead, right, for this question? Okay. Yeah. Awesome. I think I'd really love to meet Dave Grohl someday and just hang out with him. He just seems like he's been a major influence of mine, both how he's led his career and as a drummer. And I think he just has so many common interests as me in music and film and everything. So,
is there an Asian band called the Tofu Fighters? Is there an Asian band called the Tofu Fighters? Simon, look that up.
I think that might be something we might need to start as a side job. Yeah,
That'd be awesome. It's weird, but I'm a huge Tegan and Sarah fan, and I want to say those two people as one person, Tegan and Sarah. I actually really want to meet them when I. No, well, we're talking about Dave Grohl is already the rule has already been broken. The question was dissolved earlier. So all I'm saying is when I joined the band, even right before it, I was saying that it'd be awesome just to be a roadie for the Slants, so that we would play festivals and I could meet musicians. And honestly, on the top of my list was Tegan and Sarah. I don't know why, but that was totally the case.
Let's make it happen.
I mean, for me, as a big fan of history and philosophy and religion, I would say either Siddhartha Buddha or Jesus Christ, because I'm so number one, I think compassion is one of my biggest values in how I live my life. So I'm fascinated by people who really talk about it and who really expressed it in the greatest possible way, even though millions of other people have distorted their teachings over the years. And I would love to just sit down and have a dinner with them and be like, so, how do you feel about what's happened? How can I learn these values? So, it's a historical figure. This is some pretty big historical figures.
This guy reads.
Okay. So, what is some of your guys' favorite music to listen to?
I love 80s influenced music. My favorite songwriter of all time is Elvis Costello, but my favorite band of all time is the Ramones. I love The Cure, New Order, Depeche Mode. Music that makes you dance or think. So I love all of that. I actually like a lot of classical too.
Mozart, Frankie Valli, Queen, Weezer, AC/DC, Silver Safe, and the Slants.
Oh, that was sweet of you. Silver Safe is my other band. I love Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Deftones, Pantera. I love all music, however. So
That's a lot of white bands. I was gonna say Radiohead, but now I'm gonna go with BB King. I'm gonna go with BB King and The Weeknd. I love the new album by The Weeknd.
Can you think of an Asian band? The Slants.
Well, actually, Ken did name the Slants, but as far as like Asian music, I love the Pizzicotta Five. Man, there's a ton of great bands, so it just kind of depends on my mood, really. I mean, do you want to name some more non-white people? Would that make you feel better about life?
No, the honest answer is Radiohead, and only Radiohead. That's my favorite band in all time. I love Radiohead.
That's a pretty white answer.
Oh.
I do like them now. When they first came out, I was pissed off because they sounded too much like Radiohead.
All right. So, can you tell us about your the legal battle that you guys are having with the with trying to get your name, the Slants, copyrighted?
Sure, it's trademarked, but yeah, so for the last 5.5 years, we've been fighting against the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office over the right to register our band's name. What happened is about 6 years ago, our attorney at the time told us to file an application. He said, it's inexpensive, it'll take a couple months, but it's going to end up protecting your band. It's really easy to do. We got a letter of rejection from the Trademark Office saying no, that it was disparaging to persons of Asian descent. In other words, they said we were racist towards Asian people, even though everyone in our band's Asian, and we play a lot of Asian festivals throughout North America. And they decided to include evidence, great evidence, like UrbanDictionary.com, a photo of Miley Cyrus pulling her eyes back in a slant eye gesture, and a couple of white supremacist sites like AsianJokes.com. So obviously the whole thing was like a joke. We've been fighting it a long time, and we've probably sent in a little bit over 3,500 pages of evidence, including statements from internment camp survivors, Asian-American leaders, surveys, dictionary experts, you name it, like we probably included it. And finally, we just decided to say stop and say, well, hold on a second. The over 800 trademark registrations exist for slant. Why is this the only one in all of U.S. history to be denied under the premise of being racist towards Asians? And they said, it's because there's no denying, it's incontestable that you guys are Asian. They said we are too Asian. In other words, if people look at us and they look at the name The Slants, they'll automatically think of a racial slur and not any other dictionary definition. So if we were white, if we were any other race, it would be perfectly acceptable. But because we're Asian, we're being denied this right. So we've been challenging this a long time. Next month we're going to the Federal Court of Appeals in Washington, D.C., which is one step below the Supreme Court. And we've been fighting this a long time. We hope it'll end soon. I guess people have been saying don't hold your breath. It's probably going to go to the Supreme Court, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Also, is there anything that people can do to help you guys with trying to get your name? It is not copyrighted. It is trademark. Thank you. It's the other form you have to do. Is there anything that people can do to help?
Yeah, we have a petition going on right now. You can get the link from our Facebook page, and we also have a GoFundMe campaign to help with some of the legal fees, mainly the court fees. Our attorneys have been very, very generous over the years and have done this whole thing pro bono, but it's not expensive to spend over half a decade in court because the government charges us every time we file a piece of paper. And the kind of sad thing is, even if we win, even if the government admits that they were wrong, that they were racist, and that we ought to get the trademark registration, they don't refund the fees that we paid over the years.
Ooh, man, that just it almost does not seem right on that one though. But I also have a link to both your GoFundMe account and the GoFundMe and the what do you call it? The Change.org one for the petition as well. That's going to be a link in the description below for both where this actually winds up at. Thank you. You're welcome. And also, what is it now? Yeah, that's where I'm at now. Do you guys have any advice for anyone looking to get into the music industry and they're not really sure how to do that?
Yeah, work 8 years as a server / assistant manager at the Chinese Gardens Tea House, the Tao of Tea, and then fall ass backwards into a rock band. That's how it worked for me, and I'm sure it'll work for anybody else who wants to try that.
I mean, I think don't give up. If it's something you're passionate about, keep pursuing it, no matter what other people say. Because if it's what your passion is, it will be fulfilling to try to make it work, even if it's difficult along the way. And I mean, there's many other things that we always tell people about, treating your music career as a business and not just as a hobby that you put in your artistic talents. So that things that Simon and I teach in our panels at conventions are often very much more like a business class than a music class. But yeah, I think just don't give up and buy Simon's book, and and I think also if it's money that's an issue, I think finding careers that can work around playing music, whether that be a job that lets you take a lot of weird vacation time or leave without pay so that you can tour, or like Joe and I do, we are completely freelance, where we can work from anywhere, like from a tour bus, and still make income even when the music doesn't make as much income.
Yeah, I mean, like Tyler said, you can't give up. If you want to be a musician, there's a lot of times where you can get down on yourself. You just can't make excuses. Sometimes you just have to step forward. It never becomes any easier, so you might as well just, take the first step. The first step is the most important, because one step after another, you take things day by day, it will grow. If you, it's just like watering a plant. Even if you're not performing in front of people, if you practice a guitar, if you practice piano, even if you practice singing 10, 15 minutes a day, you will grow. And people can notice growth. People love seeing growth, especially, as a musician, when you're revising and revising your music, writing music. It's a part of you, and once people recognize that it's part of you, they will respect it. They will see your passion, so you can't give up, otherwise you won't go anywhere.
Much along the lines of what these guys have said, I mean, to me, don't forget that it is an art. It takes talent, it takes skill to get good at music, and so you always want to work on that craft first and foremost. But at the same time, if you want to get into music business, you can't forget that it is a business, and you have to learn the industry. You have to learn how to navigate those particular waters. Ken kind of mentioned that if you just dedicate 15 minutes a day, and it's so true because that adds up over time. Now, if you commit yourself to, say, 30 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day to work on your music, 15 minutes a day to work on the business part of it, that's over 160 hours a year that you're dedicating just towards your career, and that's certainly worth it. We spend all of our time, most of our young adult lives in school, preparing for careers that we never care about, learning subjects that we will forget as soon as we leave high school or college. Do something you're passionate about and follow through. And I shared this story earlier today in a different panel that someone once told me there are three kinds of people in this world: those who make things happen, those who wait for things to happen, and those who wonder what the heck just happened. Be someone who makes things happen. I have a blog with a bunch of free advice on it for those interested in the music industry, and it's laststopbooking.com. There's about 300 free articles on it right now.
Okay. So I'll also have a link to that in the description below as well. And also, for my last question of the day, do you guys have any other projects that you guys are currently working on that you guys want to talk about?
Sure. Right now we're recording the final bits to our new album, which is going to be released this fall, hopefully in November. It's going to be called Something Slanted This Way Comes, and it's kind of like a best-of album, but instead of just dropping in songs from our first couple albums, we're actually going in, re-recording, adding new vocals, new guitar parts, keyboards, and then we're going to hit the road right after that. So we're going to do a cross-country tour across the U.S., come back, maybe spend a holiday or two with our families and friends and that kind of thing, and then hit back on the road again. We're going to do another West Coast tour, and then hopefully do our tour in Asia. Working on some music videos, and Joe's working on a film right now.
Yeah, prior to joining the band, I actually approached Simon about the possibility of doing a documentary about the trademark case, and then on a project that's a little bigger than the case, and talk about all the subjects discussed that comes from the case, like reappropriation, free speech, systemic racism. And so the film is going to be called, hopefully, A Name Worth Fighting For, not after the Mulan song, but it's Simon's unwritten memoir. But the film itself is actually going to be relatively unbiased. The documentary will follow the case and bookend with the case, but the film itself will be interviews and discussions about all the really important subjects.
Okay, cool. So, so if you guys, that's all, guys. So yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here. Ending is not my strong point. Ending things are not my strong point at all. No, so if you guys want to keep up to date with what the Slants are doing, you can check out their Facebook page, which is The Slants on Facebook.com, and you also check out their YouTube page, YouTube.com/The Slants, and you can check them out on Twitter as well at The Slants. That's all lowercase. And their songs are also available on Google Play Music, and Spotify, and I believe iTunes. Is that correct? Okay. And also, do you guys still use your MySpace page? No. Okay, I won't include that one on there. So I'll have all the links in the description below. Do you guys want to give out any of your guys'? Do you guys have any Twitters or anything like that? You guys want to get them, Mike? Okay. Also, yeah. So Slants Official for Instagram as well. So. Okay. All right. So all the links will be in the description below if you guys want to check them out. Also, if you're in the Portland, Oregon area, there you can actually be able to catch them on Friday, October 23rd. They're also going to be going with. They'll be performing. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. Performing with Loudness, and tickets will be $18, and it is 21 or older. So, and doors open at 8:30, and the show is at 9. So, if you guys want to check that out, if you guys are in the Portland, Oregon area, definitely check it out, because I was at your guys' show yesterday, and I was enjoying it. I was enjoying myself very, very much. So, thank you guys again for coming on the show, and. For what? The title? Title of your show. Title of my show?
Yeah, I want to do that voice.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, and to close us out is Joe.
We were the Slants on the Epic Awesome Show with Samuel Overton.
That sounded like Batman.
I'm Batman.
All right, so as you know, this has been Zain, and I'm signing off. And remember, guys, I'll see you guys on the flip side.